Hello there, everybody. Dan the Mouth Lawransky here, and I am joined by former WWF referee, broadcast journalist, published author. It is so awesome to sit down here and talk with Mr. Jimmy Korderas. We're going to preview the Battleground pay-per-view. Jimmy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, I like this guy. I like the intros better than what Pollock gives me over here. What the hell? This is good. I like this.
All right.
I'm good. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing great, man. This is a great chance.
We haven't done anything together in.
Oh, geez, it'd be a long time.
Old law days.
Yes, yes.
And I guess the one time on 1050.
For sure.
Came in to plug my book.
Yeah, so let's talk. I mean, we've got Battleground coming up, Washington D.C. on the weekend. But as we film this or record this, it's Wednesday morning. The draft has just gone down. A lot of stuff happened in the draft here that we got to get to. So I want to start with that first before we get into the pay-per-view. And right off the bat, the GM picks. Shane picking Daniel Bryan, Stephanie picking Mick Foley. What did you think of these picks as the GMs?
Well, if SmackDown's supposed to be the show of the new era, who better to represent it than a guy like Daniel Bryan? And, you know, the only thing that concerns me about Daniel Bryan is for him personally, because a guy who is so passionate about being in the ring and loving wrestling so much, sometimes it takes a while. You have to detach yourself from it to get used to being away from the ring. Maybe he's gone through that process already.
Right.
He looks like he's ready to come back, and he could be a fun GM, something new, something different we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm, yeah, no, I agree. And what about Foley on the other side? Because I'm curious that they would put a babyface with Stephanie, although I thought we did also see hints of maybe Foley turning heel. Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know if I see Foley turning heel, but I could see him being more of a tweener, so to speak, and I hate using that term,
right?
But I could see him more in that role. He kind of surprised me that Foley was the choice, but at the same time, I look at the fact that he has a new show coming up on the network, and it kind of makes sense to have the guy front and center on the flagship show.
Yeah, I think Daniel Bryan was a pick that most people were not surprised with, but yeah, the Foley one, but you're right. When you think of it in context of the network, reality show starts in August. What better place to have him out there,
exactly.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's get into the actual draft itself here. I'm going to let you, first just overall, what you thought with what Raw got and what SmackDown got before I chime in here.
I thought they were somewhat balanced, considering the fact I didn't like the fact that, and you guys touched on this on the Law on Sunday, with the rules that, and I kind of half get it, that Raw would get 3 picks for every SmackDown too, because they are a longer show by an hour. But by the same token, if you're going to if you want the shows to appear equal on every level, then they should have an equal amount of picks.
Right.
Starting from there. But other than that, I'm okay with it. I mean, you have some really good name value on SmackDown, like John Cena, like Randy Orton, but also AJ Styles too. There's another guy that'll appeal to the hardcore, diehard, smart mark audience.
Right, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like it's a nice little mix. And going over to the Raw, it's an interesting mix there. You got your 2 former Shield guys. You got your Seth Rollins and your Roman Reigns, and you've also got Kevin Owens, who I still think is money.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Money.
Yeah.
So, and going future, and I'm wondering if they're going to wait till after the Cruiserweight tournament is over. The Cruiserweights are going to be exclusive to Raw, which I think is a good move, too. So I'm liking it, but I'm also taking a wait-and-see attitude, because with everything, everything looks good on paper, but when the actual application happens, sometimes it's...
Yeah, myself, I don't know. I didn't see it as quite as positive as you did. I actually think SmackDown got screwed. I'm going to say that. Because when I look at the Raw list and the guys I want to see, they're mostly all on the Raw show. Rollins, Finn Balor, Brock Lesnar, The New Day, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, Kevin Owens, Enzo and Cash, Gallows and Anderson. Like, a lot, even Cesaro even, like that. Whereas I look at SmackDown and like, okay, Ambrose, Styles, Cena. It almost starts to draw. American Alpha, I'm glad that they're on there. But I just feel that if they really wanted to push SmackDown as a new force and really get people to watch it, I don't know if this is going to really hook people.
It's going to be tough. It will be tough, but maybe their mindset is with a guy like the flagship guy, the face that runs the place, John Cena, being on SmackDown. maybe they're banking on that being enough. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Again, time will tell.
Yeah. Like, to me, I would have put both Zayn and Owens on SmackDown because I think those guys are real hooks. And again, I think if you're talking new era on SmackDown and a lot of the younger fans, I think really dig those two, I would have put them on SmackDown.
Yeah. I found it interesting, though, that, again, I guess it's leading down the road to two world title situation, one for Raw, one for SmackDown, that they would have, the world champion or the WWE champion drafted. I almost would have liked a different scenario where the WWE champion doesn't get drafted. He's the only guy that goes back and forth between two shows. Yeah. You can have a number one contender from the Raw brand, number one from SmackDown. And if he were to lose the title, then he goes to the brand from who
beat him?
Yes.
Right. That's something actually not a bad idea.
I would have liked to see something like that. I mean, because, the two title thing kind of deletes things.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I just at least hope that they don't do it like last time where Bischoff just handed the belt to Triple H and said, you're the champion now.
There you go.
Like, I hope they at least have a tournament if they are going to do that. I was kind of thinking that maybe they were going to do it out of this whole Seth and Ambrose thing after Monday night after we had the unclear finish. I thought
the seed was planted.
Yeah, I thought, maybe are they going to do it again? But we had the clean win on SmackDown, and Rollins still has the title.
But we still have the three-way on Sunday for them to kind of muddy the waters and again plant the seed further for a possible second title.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing for me, too, the Cruiserweight division, again, I think that should be on SmackDown. You want to push the new era. You want to push something that's a little bit different. Let Raw be your more entertainment, even maybe a little bit more attitude era if you want. But I really think the Cruiserweight should be on SmackDown. I hope they get, I'm worried about what it used to be like on Nitro, where the Cruiserweights would come out, they'd have the opening match on Nitro, they'd do a barn burner 20-minute match, and the commentators would just kind of ignore them and make fun of them. And I'm just worried that they're going to get lost in the shuffle on Raw.
I hope that doesn't happen. Obviously, there's a potential for that to happen, but I'm hoping that it's more the thought process. I'm hoping the thought process was Raw being a 3-hour show would give them more time to showcase these talents as opposed to being on Raw where they'd have to be rushed.
Right.
SmackDown where they'd have to be rushed into 2 hours.
I hope you're right.
I'm trying to look at the glass half full.
You are. I'm the glass half empty guy here.
Hey, we're going to be Waldorf and Stadler for the fight.
That's right. Yeah. Where's our balcony seats? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into the actual pay-per-view here. Battleground is coming up. Let's see. Where do you want to start here? Does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn then. I was kind of, the way Zayn was talking there, I kind of thought they were going to get drafted to separate brands, and this might be the final, but they are both on Raw. So how do you see this playing out? Will it continue? Are they going to try to do like Ring of Honor where these guys feuded for like 2 years straight?
You know what? If there's two guys that can make a long feud work, it's these two guys, and they proved it in Ring of Honor, like you said. These guys remind me, going almost like Geek Nerd Now comic book. These guys are almost like Batman and the Joker. They're destined to fight each other forever. And as long as they keep it entertaining and have great matches, I'm okay with it. I mean, you can break them off for a while, but then, their paths inadvertently cross all the time. Like one just continues to be a thorn in someone's side. As far as drafting them to different brands, I thought that was the way it was going too. I almost would have liked to have seen a situation where they do get drafted to different brands. They have the match on Sunday because it's already booked.
Right.
Kevin Owens screws Sami Zayn and wins the match, and then Sami just goes to the GM. I don't care what you got to do. Trade me to Raw.
Right.
I don't care what you have to do.
Right.
You trade me to Raw. And that kind of, again, sets a tone for differentiating the brands where you can say, hey, these guys can trade talent back and forth, as opposed to doing a draft or something like that.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, the idea of trades. I don't know if we'll see some of that or not in the future.
If you want to make it feel more legit, why not?
It was kind of funny looking on the sports ticker and seeing WWE draft coming up.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan, you're on the clock.
So, I agree with you. I want the feud to continue, so I'm hoping it's some sort of messed up finish and we get to watch them wrestle each other till the dawn of time, till the end of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Rusev and Zack Ryder for the U.S. title. Is there anything to be said here?
I wish I cared about it more.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Rusev is being presented as a credible U.S. champion. I just wish that there was a challenger that meant more. And it's no disrespect to Zack Ryder, but
Sure.
at this point...
It's not his fault,
No,
right?
it's not his fault. And that's the thing. A lot of times, people blame the talent. It's not the talent's fault.
No way, man. You could be the greatest wrestler in the world. If they book you like crap, it's crap, right?
Exactly. And sometimes it's the fault of the office, and sometimes it's the fault of the talent not capitalizing on a certain opportunity. And with Zack Ryder, like I said, I wish I just cared more about him. That's all.
Do you expect any kind of change? I don't.
I don't. And if it happens, hey, I just see that it's more like Rusev being booked like a monster, and Zack Ryder is still somewhat popular amongst a lot of the fans. So a win against him in a dominant way would, help maybe make Rusev more of a credible champ.
Yeah. Now, for this one women's match here, we have Charlotte and Dana Brooke against Sasha and the mystery partner. What are your thoughts on the mystery partner?
This is weird because, a lot of people were upset that Bayley didn't get taken in.
Yeah, actually, I have to admit, I'm a tad surprised by that one.
Trying to think of it from a glass half full standpoint and trying to think of it from what they may be thinking down there is, if Bayley gets drafted, to the main roster in this big draft here, does it have as much of an impact as if she comes up alone?
Right.
Where you can really showcase her and have those wavy inflated...
Show some vignettes ahead of time and stuff.
Yeah, and say, listen, this is... Because in all honesty, and I think you guys have touched on this on the law too, Mouth, she potentially could be the female John Cena.
Totally.
She has it. She has that connection with the younger audience, with males and females. That's rare, especially for a female superstar. So maybe making it more special. And I bet she's probably disappointed that she didn't get called up. But at the same time, sometimes things happen for a reason, and maybe that's the best course. But I would rather she not be the mystery partner, as much as it would be cool to see her on the main roster. Yeah. Possibly a Nia Jax.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning. Just because she got drafted, and I think they need a big way to kind of introduce her to the main roster. Plus, getting the big monster girl to kind of help her out against Charlotte and Dana. So
the question is she ready for the jump? That's the big question mark. She is still relatively unseasoned, let's say. But, but she has a unique look.
That's for sure. Yeah,
that's different from the other girls on the roster.
And just while we're here, let's I forgot about this with the draft, but let's touch on this. What did you think of the NXT picks? Because I have to admit, I was, again, somewhat disappointed. I was hoping for... maybe not Nakamura right away, but man, I thought Samoa Joe should be coming up in the draft.
That one surprised me.
That
one surprised me. Joe not coming up surprised me, but you know what? I get the Mojo Riley thing because they like...
That was a total surprise to me, that one.
See, like I said, I'm trying to get it. Maybe that's where it goes with him and Zack Ryder forming the Hype Bros on SmackDown. Maybe that's where it goes. The guy that I wanted to see that was under the radar was Ty Dillinger. Because here's a guy who basically got over... in NXT, huge, with a gimmick that I think will translate well to the main roster. Because that's a challenge. It's different in front of the NXT. Mo.
Yeah,
it's
for sure. Well, that's the thing with Bayley. We all wonder, will that gimmick translate? I mean, I think if they had put her on SmackDown, I think that would have been a really good thing. Again, new era, fresh faces. No,
I agree.
All right. Well, okay. So it looks like we're both going with Nia Jackson. What happens in that match?
Oh man. Again, I would have rather seen a women's title match on the show as opposed to that, but I guess they're leading to that at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So maybe Sasha gets the win over Charlotte to set up her, earning a title shot at SummerSlam.
And the other women's match on Battleground is Becky Lynch against Natalya. They're both on the same brand. How do you see this one playing out?
I like the fact that there's two women's matches and both have a meaning for different reasons. There's an actual... rivalry going on between Natalya and Becky, and it's more than just over a title and more being jealous of the other girl kind of thing. It's like, pissed off people and having. I like the brawl they had on.
Yes,
SmackDown.
I did. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I could see Natalya kind of squeaking this one out and having that feud continue. I like it.
You like Natty as a heel?
I do like her as a heel.
Eh?
Yeah,
I was
much better.
I was surprised, but because I was kind of freaked that they would even do it with her. I mean, she's been babyface for so long. I mean, has she ever been a heel? I'm trying to think.
Kind of subtly when she was with
Tyson, I guess, a little bit, right?
Yeah, with Tyson Kidd and even with Davey Jr.
Right.
a little bit. And even when Tyson alone, it was there was a little bit of that attitude, but not a full-fledged.
Yeah, I like it, and I think it looks to me like she's having fun. It's probably nice for her too, a little bit of a reinvention, revitalize, change things up a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so for the Intercontinental title, we have Miz versus Darren Young, who's had Bob Backlund. What have you thought of the use of Bob Backlund?
The sad thing for me about it is Bob Backlund is overshadowing Darren Young.
Yeah.
Darren, great look, great talent. He's not connecting with the audience.
Yeah, it's hard. And Backlund is so in your face, over the top persona, and he's so funny at what he does too, right?
So it's overshadowing. But I will say this. I've always been a fan of The Miz. I think he gets underrated and gets a bad rap a lot.
Yep.
But this pairing with him and Maryse right now is
I love
the best he's done.
I agree. I was there was a period where I really liked him and then I cooled on him. But when they put Maryse back with him, I agree. It's classic. Those two are great. She compliments him so well. She hardly has to do anything.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think it's much better with the two together.
Me too. This is please continue. And
they're on different brands, so do we have a title change here, or
no?
Miz keeps it?
Here's the weird thing: both the U.S. title match and the Intercontinental Championship match, the challengers are on different brands. Mm-hmm. So either they would have to both win or both lose.
so one,
they cross over the.
Yeah.
You can't have. You got to keep the IC title and the U.S. title on different brands.
Yeah. Okay. And what else do we have here? We have the Wyatt family and the New Day, and this whole crazy thing where it looked like Xavier was under their power, but then it looked like he wasn't, and then this crazy thing at the compound. What did you think of that whole thing at the compound? Because to me, it didn't really have any context. It's like all of a sudden they're there, they have this fight, and then it's done.
Yeah, here's the thing. I know a lot of people are making the obvious comparison to the TNA thing, but the seed was planted for that compound thing a few weeks prior to when it happened. It was like, come find us for a couple of weeks.
Right.
So I think the idea was there. I think the timing of it was pretty suspect.
Yeah.
Maybe they were going to wait and.
Well, I heard that the actual whole WWE creative team sat and watched the final deletion thing from TNA. So I think they were definitely influenced by it.
I wouldn't doubt it, but it almost feels like that fight at the compound would have been something that they were saving for a pay-per-view or something.
Yeah, a special match, right?
But pushed it up.
Yeah.
Because of that final deletion. Maybe that's the reason why they did it then. But it was two different presentations. It was like, I know you referred to it as the final deletion as Plan 9 from outer space.
Like
it was
that.
Ed Wood.
Yeah, totally.
See, but that was the difference. That was Ed Wood, and the fight at the compound was more like Rob Zombie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right, that's very true.
So it depends on what kind of presentation.
Horror movie you like.
Do you like the campy style?
Right, or do you like it's more raunchy and scary?
Yeah, with crazy cuts and a different grainy look. You know what I mean? It depends on what you like.
Yeah, exactly. Because also quickly too, because that's very much the Lucha Underground kind of approach. How do you feel about that? Because I find sometimes Lucha Underground, it's too much like a movie for me. It actually takes me out of the product rather than drawing me in.
At times it does. I mean, like I like the difference. I like different, and I like. See, here's the misconception a lot of people, especially on Twitter, have about me is that I like different presentations of professional wrestling, but I compare it to like a restaurant. Like, let's say I like different kinds of food.
Yeah.
I like I'll go to different kinds of restaurants.
Sure.
This might be my favorite type of food,
right.
but it doesn't mean I'm going to eat there every day.
Right.
I'm going to go to different places every day and enjoy it. So I can enjoy the presentation. I understand the different concept of doing the movie style and stuff like that, but I also get your point of it taking away from what they're doing in the ring as well. You have to have that fine balance, and that's the problem today with all companies.
Right.
Is finding that balance between in-ring product and doing, the backstage
stuff,
vignettes and all that stuff. And sometimes the backstage stuff overshadows what they're doing in the ring, and that shouldn't happen.
And what happens? It's not for the title. The Wyatts in the New Day. What do you think? I'm guessing it continues.
I think the Wyatts, but without Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman now
that's right. He's drafted after this. That's right.
Which surprised me, but then didn't, because he's got that big guy look that they seem to like, and And it was either separate him from the Wyatts or separate Big Cass, and you don't want to separate.
No,
Big Cass
man,
yet.
don't mess with Enzo. Listen to us. Don't mess with Enzo and Cass right now because they are such a seriously, they are such a fabulous team.
Yep.
They are an example that if you do things right and you have two guys that are unique, man, people will catch on.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of Enzo and Cass, good segue, Jimmy. Way to go. He's a professional broadcast journalist, ladies and gentlemen. Enzo and Cass and Cena against the Club in the six-man tag. I just think this has been built excellent. Mm-hmm. I love the way that Enzo and Cass are getting the rub from Cena. Exactly. Even though AJ, a lot of people crowd that AJ lost his early matches coming in, I don't think it's affected him at all. I love the Club. The Club, to me, is the first time in a long time I felt a genuine heel faction that works. It's not like the League of Nations, which was a joke. These guys come out, they look badass, they're tough. I mean, it just really, really works.
And the brilliant thing about it is you talk about AJ Styles, and one of the question marks about AJ Styles was his ability on the microphone. He's been gold as a heel, so and he's been so good that he's been able to kind of turn a lot of the crowd against him, because when he first came in,
everyone was
he could do no wrong.
Yeah,
he could stab your grandmother, and people would say AJ Styles.
Yeah.
But now he's starting to get that heel reaction that good heels can do, and he's been brilliant on the mic. I think very underrated on the mic.
Yes,
Yes,
I agree. I was exactly in the same thought as you. I'm like, oh man, is he going to be able to handle doing promos in the WWE? That's a big step, because a lot of times Japan, even Ring of Honor, he wouldn't do a lot of talking, right? But man, you are so right. He's just come on like gangbusters, and he's fantastic. I love this combination. Personally, I guess the tag teams are both on Raw, and then Styles and Cena are both on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So you can at least spin these two feuds off once this is over with.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I think I could see it going that way. Definitely. It's almost like we'll get to it in the title match, but I think it sets up things going forward anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. I think that actually, even though it's a six-man tag, that has potential to be a very good in-ring match too.
Oh, yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right, and as you mentioned, the title match, it's Battleground, Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins for the title. Now, first, before we get into the actual match, the suspension with Roman Reigns, and what were your thoughts on that? Because I don't know if that was really handled the right way.
See, it's a tough situation, especially today. The information is out there.
Right.
And they put it on their own website.
That's right.
It's not like obviously we don't know what he got popped for. It could have been anything. So everybody who's saying, hey man, juice bag, relax, we don't know. It could have been something he bought at GNC, because that list is long. Mm-hmm. And unless you're like really on top of stuff that you're taking, because everybody takes supplements nowadays. Everybody's into supplements. So relax on that anyways. We don't know. So no speculation. Mm-hmm. But
should they have acknowledged it on? I understand the website, but should they have acknowledged it on the television? Should they have done an injury angle? Like they knew, I think, before they set this up what was going on.
I think they knew before the pay-per-view. I think they knew before the Monday night leading up to this, and just use that as a bridge to get the title off Roman Reigns, because he was going to get suspended for 30 days. That said, I see it's hard, because you don't want to over insult your smart audience as well, because they all know that Roman Reigns is suspended for 30 days. So you do the injury angle, and people are he's injured because he's suspended for 30 days. Yeah. So people know it. It's new territory, and I think the idea was to have Seth Rollins come out and bring it to everybody's attention and be a real dick about it.
Right.
Trying to get heel heat on him. But I don't know if it worked. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like in reverse, like, yeah, well,
the thing I worry about, and I don't know how you would have maybe got this around this anyways, because like you say, if they'd done the injury angle and people went, oh yeah, well, he's not injured, and now we know he's suspended. To me, I think he's going to, and people don't like him, I think he's going to be graded by huge steroid chants when he comes out on Sunday.
It could happen. I mean, like, again, we don't know what the substance was.
No one does, but I just think that the crowd doesn't like him to begin with, so I think they're going to really get on him.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. That pack mentality is going to be crazy on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly Raw and SmackDown this week both had very energetic crowds. I thought the crowd reaction on both shows was really good.
See, and John and I have talked about it before. This unmitigated hate for for Roman Reigns, which I don't. I get if you don't like a character or a talent. Like I know a lot of people say, I like John Cena, I just don't like his character.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But there just seems to be this vitriol hate for Roman Reigns that I don't get. And, a mutual friend of ours, Nug,
Yes.
made the great comparison. He says, Roman Reigns is Nickelback. They aren't a bad band. It's not like they can't play.
Right, they're right.
It's just nobody likes them.
Likes them. Yeah. I think honestly, and I've said this on the law. I think it was backlash to them not getting Daniel Bryan. I think a lot of this is the crowd saying, "Look, man, we wanted Daniel Bryan. You would let us have him. You're pushing this guy down our throats instead. Screw you.
Yeah.
We're not going to go for this guy, even if he is the greatest thing since Ric Flair. Like, there's no way. I really do think that's part of it.
No, I agree. It's almost like they haven't forgiven Roman Reigns for not being Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
and again, that's nothing to do with him, right?
Exactly.
Like he's just caught in the middle of all that, so he's in a rough spot.
Yeah, and even the part that I hate most is even when he performs well, and even when he gets on the mic and he has a good night on the mic, people still don't give him the dues. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
It's tough. It's really tough for him.
But going to the match now, this is where I think we're going to get some kind of controversy, some kind of shenanigans that'll lead
to this. Will lead to the next title, new title,
to a new title. And the way I can't see it moving over to Raw and then SmackDown say, well, we got to create our own title. It almost seems like a Stephanie McMahon move that the WWE title stays on SmackDown with Ambrose.
Yeah.
And her saying, we need our own world title.
Right.
It almost seems like a heelish thing to do as opposed to, babyface is going, well, we need our own title.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That could be. I mean, myself personally, I wanted to stay on Ambrose. He's had a rough go. I think he's a really great talent. I think he's great at that kind of psycho, loose cannon type of guy, channeling Brian Pillman and Piper and guys like that. Mm-hmm. And I think he got burned in the whole Brock Lesnar program. I think he really should have got a win there. And so now he's finally being kind of pushed as a solid guy. Big wins over Rollins now, 2 nights in a row. I think he should keep the title. Myself.
I think so too, for a couple of reasons. Like you said, the match against Brock, even if he didn't win, he still didn't come out looking good.
Great,
I mean, there's a way to do it.
That's
where you
right.
Still look good, but that didn't even happen. But if he were to lose the title on Sunday, people will look at him as, he was just a transitional champion because Roman Reigns got suspended. And we had to do something, so we just put it on Dean Ambrose just to make people happy for a little while. I think keeping the title on him is the best move for him and for the SmackDown brand going forward, because if you're going to present this as a new era, he's your guy.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. One other thing about that match, Roman Reigns, heel turn. Is it ever going to happen, Jimmy? Because honestly, I think if they turned him heel, the fans wouldn't have nearly as much trouble with it.
I know, but again, you go to that other side of the coin where if you do turn him heel and people go, oh, cool, that's the Roman Reigns I want to see, and now it has the reverse effect.
So they're cheering him then.
Yeah, exactly. That might happen.
Right.
I'm not saying it will. It could still be that we hate him still kind of thing, but that's the risk. When people say, why don't they turn John Cena? Because once they turn John Cena, he'll get cheered by the crowd that hates him, but then you lose out on all the merch sales from the kids and everybody else.
Yeah.
So
it's a tough
call.
one.
It's a different world now from when we were
oh boy, is it ever. All right, well, that about wraps it up for us, ladies and gentlemen. The Battleground pay-per-view takes place this Sunday from Washington, D.C. It'll be, of course, available on the WWE Network. And, I don't have anything else to say.
Except for tune in on Sunday night after the pay-per-view.
Oh, of course.
Man.
I guess we should plug our own show. Yes, we'll have the whole thing. We'll run down the entire thing. We'll give all our thoughts on the draft and what's going on. And do we know? We don't know who the commentary team is for the pay-per-view. Is this because this is a mixed pay-per-view? This isn't just a Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, because
is this Lawler's final hurrah?
Oh man, I hope he gets something. Maybe they'll do something with him on the network or something.
They'd be stupid not to, man.
Yeah.
They should have. I think, as we were talking about earlier, they should have a lot of those guys, legendary guys that they have on Legends contracts. Get them, film some documentaries, do some shows, let them introduce some vignettes.
Honestly, you know what they should bring back is that roundtable discussion they used to do.
Yes,
those were amazing.
Yes.
You would get some of the greatest stories.
Yes,
it's like I talked to John one time and I told him when I first started working for Jack Tunney, and after every Maple Leaf Garden show, he would have a suite at the hotel that all the boys would stay at. But the boys would rather be, out having a
beer or
two. And the guys that would go up to the room would be like the guys like Bobby Heenan, Nick Bockwinkel, Jack Lanza, Billy Red Lions, all the agents, all the older guys. And the first time I got invited up to the suite, I went up there and just sitting there, I would rather sit there and listen to these fantastic.
Yeah.
Bobby Heenan is hilarious.
Yeah.
Jack Lanza is hilarious with some of the great Wally Carbo stories and stuff like that. See, for me, that's just and I know you would dig that.
I would agree. Like I think Table for Three is kind of my favorite one at the moment. It's a shame that it's only half an hour because to most of them, it seems to me like the show just got started and it comes to an end. But yeah, anything where guys sit down and talk about their life or tell stories, I'm in for.
I love it.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Like Jimmy said, tune into The Law this Sunday night. We'll have the complete rundown of Battleground. And, that's it. See you next time.